Hey guys, welcome to the next part of our videos. We're going to continue with the topology. This is actually one of the final parts in regards to topology. We're going to work on the toes for our character. Now, we're going to do it, or we're going to use a different methodology in this case. Sorry, as you can see here, our toes are all pretty much welded together because that's the way we just sculpted the general forms in Maya, in ZBrush. But now we need to separate them, and I won't be able to work like we did with the fingers in the hand, and therefore I'm just gonna turn this into a reference or into the template so that I can see the feet and then the toes and everything to know where they are, but I'm not gonna actually paste myself or follow the topology closely. Now, this is the trick. I'm gonna grab one cube here. I'm gonna go into mesh. I'm gonna say smooth. And what this is gonna do, it's gonna smooth my cube into this weird looking sphere-like shape. And this, my friends, is the cap to all of our toes. If I bring this into my toe, you're gonna see very quickly how this guy can nicely simulate the tip of our toe. And we got low topology, so that's good for us. And everything is looking nice. I'm gonna grab this edge right here, and I'm gonna say extrude, and I'm gonna extrude this back, following the template that I have to give my toe its general shape, like so. So that's my toe. Let's go to the next one. Control D, scale down, move it slightly lower. It shouldn't be that smaller. Those are actually quite big. And then move this guy. And move these things up. Actually, one thing that happens with toes, if you look at reference, let me show you. One of the things that happens is that they get this like interesting curvature going on. So I can have something very similar. So I'm gonna keep this up here and then grab this edge here, move it up, and then I can just insert an edge right about there. Actually, no, this first edge should go down, slightly down, like so. Yeah, there we go. That looks a little bit nicer. Now, the cool thing about this, or it's not as cool because we're gonna have to go back into ZBrush and resculpt, but the nice thing is that we're gonna have nice topology to work with. And this is gonna make our lives so much easier if we want to just have our character looking nice. Now, in the case of toes, I personally don't like to go extremely crazy here in Maya. I prefer to save the information for ZBrush. Some people, what they do is they combine all of these 4 toes into like one big mesh, and then they leave the toe as a separate finger. And that's totally fine. The issue that we're gonna have here, and this has to do with the normal maps, is that when we try to bake the information from these toes into our normal maps, since they're so close together, one of the things that's gonna happen is that they might translate, or they might give information to each other. So one way you can avoid that from this point before waiting too long is just move them in such a way that it looks like our character is slightly spreading them at will. So by having enough space here on the fingers, again, think of a character spreading its toes. By doing that, you should be able to save yourself a little bit of issues when doing the bakes. Of course, when you pose the character, you're gonna pretty much rig them so that you can spread them out and get them close back together, and you can have the closed position as your base position, and then just animate whenever the character spreads its fingers. Okay, so we got our topology there. That's good enough for us. I'm gonna turn this off so that it's not distracting, and we're gonna paste them. We're gonna pretty much bridge them all together. So I'm just gonna select them all, combine them, and we're gonna use the same strategy that we did for the for the fingers. So what I'm gonna do here is I want to move this roughly where their length is gonna live. The closer the better. We can still tweak some stuff later on in ZBrush, but if or again, the closer the better, so something like that works. And I'm gonna use my quadro and just bridge this stuff in such a way that we get the same thing we had for the hands, where all of their middle sections are pretty much shared. Now this can be a little bit tricky, so if you're having issues with it, you can use the append polygon tool, or as a last resource, it's not the last resource, but as another final option, the bridge tool. It's just bridge. Oh. Bridge and bridge. There we go. Now all of these fingers need to somehow connect to this guy over here. And this is where the tricky part is going to come, because we don't have enough loops here. If you check how many edges we have only 12 edges there, and my feet has 36 edges. So we need to find a way to simplify the amount of edges. And it's actually very simple. I'm just going to select these two guys, combine them. Now these two lines here, the lateral ones, just bridge them nicely. Same for the outer ones. So bridge and bridge. There we go. And now here we'll probably bring these guys slightly up so they start resembling the loops here. And remember how I said triangles were your friends? Well, this is where that takes a whole different meaning. Have one there, and we're gonna have one there, have one there, and we have one there. Why can we have triangles here without affecting it? Because the foot's gonna bend at this point, at the ball of the foot. It's called the ball right here. So this part right here, they're all gonna bend at the same place. Like, think about if I just grab all of these faces and move the pivot point to the side here, like right about here. That's the place where everything's gonna bend. So it doesn't really matter that I have a lot of triangles there, because they're not gonna make a difference for my feet. And now I can just simply select these two guys, for instance, and close the toes. For instance, right here, I'll probably just move this around a little bit and add the extra loop, like so. Same for this guy. Just move this vertex slightly to the side, same as with these ones. And what I'm trying to find here is I want to try and find, oh, this is going to be a little bit different. Let's see. There we go. Yes, so this guy is going to come all the way here. We're going to use triangles. Nope. In this case, I'm going to need one more triangle from here to here. And here's a point where we can either add more edge and just move the triangle further up, or let's see how this works. Yeah, let's add it. So I'm gonna erase this for a second. Let's erase this as well. Whenever you erase what's it called, whenever you erase an edge, make sure to hit Control Supreme, or Control Delete, so that it erases the vertices as well, because otherwise you're gonna get like a rogue vertex there. Just gonna add one here, and since the loops here are very nicely laid out, this is just gonna follow the path very nicely, and this is gonna allow me to play with the topology a little bit better. Yeah, so now we can grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and bridge. There you go. This guy, or this vertex right here, it's gonna be around there, and then I'm gonna cross over here and cross over here. Same deal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we bridge. That's it. The front part of our toe is ready, or if our toes are ready. And then again, on the underside, we're gonna have a very similar situation where we need to solve the amount of triangles here. Now the problem here is that we don't have that many edges to work with. Again, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So the only thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start triangulating stuff. I'm gonna try to see if I can make this line flow into each specific line here. So I'm just gonna grab these two edges here. Again, this is one of the things I personally like about retopology. It feels like a puzzle every time. So let's say it's like you're gonna need one guy right there, and another guy right there, and another guy here, and then let's start doing the other sides here, because we're gonna have 1, 2, 3. It's not super advisable to have a lot of triangles because that can get really messy. So let's do a different strategy here, because this is one of the other options that you can have. Now that all the toes are pretty much where they're supposed to be, we can bring our body back again, select our body, go into light surface again, select our low poly, and then build our topology on top of this thing, just as a guideline, like just as a general idea of where things are supposed to be. And we can do the trick with it with the hand, where we kind of created this, remember these shapes? Let's move this back. So I'll create that shape there. I'm gonna do the same for this part right here. Don't worry too much about placing it where it's supposed to be, because remember that since all of these are welded together, we're gonna have an issue, or we're gonna have a hard time trying to get that to work. But we can kind of create these guys here. Hopefully we won't have that much of a disruption, and if we do, that's fine, because we can always just go into ZBrush and fix it. So let me erase a couple of faces here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start creating the triangles, but back here. Or instead of a triangle, we can follow the same shape and just give ourselves a couple of more loops by re-looping down here. Everything keeps the same geometry, everything keeps the same information that we want. So I know that here we're gonna have trapezius coming from that specific side, and I kind of want that. I know we're gonna have one more here. It's gonna join together about there. Oh, and then we're gonna have a final one coming from that guy, and all of this kind of join together or are connected to that side there. Now this guy, we're gonna connect there, 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 and boom. See that? That's a nicer flow there. Now, again, get rid of this guy. Select my low poly. Let's isolate it so we can work a little bit more easily. And at this point, we're gonna have to do a lot of pen to polygon tool. So it's gonna be this guy. Whoop. To this guy. There we go. That normal is reversed, so I'm just gonna select that face and reverse normal. And it's gonna be this guy to that guy. Bridge. That's why I kind of prefer the. It all depends how you like selecting stuff. It should be the same deal. It doesn't really matter. Of course, quads will always be better in regards to sculpting and topology. So if I can go back to the front side and do something similar to what I'm doing here, where I create the segments for all of the different parts of my character, that might be a good option. There we go. However, I personally don't think that this is going to be an issue. It could happen very similar to what we have on the hand, where these things can help me define the tendon a little bit better, and it's going to give me a very nice looking. So there we go. Again, it's going to look weird. It's totally fine. It's going to look weird because we don't have the proper gesture for our feet, but it will save you a big headache if you keep it this way. So the one thing I'm going to do here is I want to add a couple more loops so that I can go into ZBrush and sculpt a little bit better. So I'm just going to select these guys here and hit bevel. Whenever you select an edge and you bevel it, what's going to happen is that it's going to what's the word? It's going to divide it into a loop, so it's going to be easier to work with. And boom, there we go, guys. We got a feet. Very nice looking feet, ankle, lower leg, everything. I'm going to stop the video right here, guys. And before we go back into ZBrush for a final pass on some of the stuff like the face, the feet, and the hands, I'm going to do a quick test on how everything's coming up together. So hang on tight, and I'll see you back in the next video. Bye-bye.